Bonjour, messieurs, dames. It may seem a little odd, but the very French novel that we are looking at today actually stems from a Bavarian author. Bienvenue à The Perfume by Patrick Süskind. Today's cast are Jean-Baptiste Grenouille, a super nose who smells better than my French bulldog. I mean, he's got a better sense of smell. To smell better than Watson in the sense of smelliness wouldn't be that hard. In the course of the novel, he becomes a little bit of a serial killer. This is his mother, who works as a market woman at the fish market at the Cimetière des Innocents. Father Terrier looks after the orphan a little later. Madame Gaillard then takes care of little Jean-Baptiste for money, and for money she would have done basically anything with him. The tanner, Monsieur Grimal, wearing a suitably grim facial expression, is the next hard teacher for the boy, until he maneuvers himself into the house of the perfumer Baldini. Then there is the Marquis de la Taillade Espinasse. He's a philanthropist and a scientist, if we use the term in the widest possible sense. In Grasse, we meet the perfumer's widow, Madame Arnulfi, who keeps the family business with the help of the journeyman Druyot. Smack! Also in Grasse, there's Monsieur Richy, which is a telling name. He's very rich and has a daughter named Laure, a creature of wondrous beauty. In addition, there's loads of auxiliary figures, such as 24 murder victims, the upper classes, as well as the dregs of society. Süskind published his novel in 1985 and never had to work again, which is a kind of consolation to all writers. The novel is set around 1750 in France, and boy are you lucky that YouTube doesn't transmit odors, for it stinks. Sniff away at the perfume. It is a hot summer's day at the fish market at the Cimetière des Innocents, and I have to work, although I'm pregnant. Was like that with the other 4 pregnancies too. And now I'm in labor in addition to all the work. Ouch! Bang! Fall birth. Here comes the baby. She cuts the kid's umbilical cord with her fish knife and chucks him under the table to the rubbish when she swoons. And some people come up and go, "What's up here? Are you okay?" And she goes, "It's okay." When bah, the kid cries and she goes, "What? Yet alive?" And the crowd goes, "Wait a minute." She's arrested for attempted child murder and gets executed a while later. The little one is given to a nurse who, however, wants to return him soon afterwards. She knocks on the door of the monastery in charge of him, and Père Terrier goes, "Yeah, here, I want to return him." "But you get 3 francs a week for nursing him." "Yeah, but he's obsessed by the devil and sucks one out and doesn't smell." And Terrier goes, "Sniff, sniff. Right now he smells, his poo smells, but he doesn't have a personal scent." And having no experience with children, Terrier wonders if he ought to charge her for heresy, the devil thing, but looks at the boy, "Dootsie, dootsie," who wakes up and looks at him. And he goes, "He's really obsessed with the devil and sucks one out." And he hurries to put him into Madame Gaillard's care. She's a very efficient manager in the foster child business, without scruples and without a sense of smell, which is a great advantage for her. I'm very satisfied with the little Jean-Baptiste here. He has survived all the attempted murders of the other kiddies, and he can do with almost no food at all. So he grows up in her keeping. "I've smelled out your savings." She doesn't find that funny at all and takes him to the tanner Grimal. "Have a new apprentice, Grimal. Tough as leather, and he eats hardly anything. Discount price, 15 francs. Deal. At Grimal's, the living conditions are even grimmer than at the foster mother's, but Jean-Baptiste simply won't die. He even survives anthrax. And 4 years later, he already got half his Sundays off. Yeah, I mean, that's France for you. That's where labor unions are still strong. So he starts exploring the vast realm of odors on offer in the metropolis Paris. When he's 15 years old, he's out among a crowd watching fireworks at the riverbanks of the Seine, passing people until suddenly he goes, "What scent is that?" And he starts sniffing and follows the trace into a dark backyard where a girl is sitting at a table cleaning mirabelles. And this girl smells so incredibly good, he's never smelled anything like her. He sneaks up to her from behind. She doesn't see him, and he knows he's got to have her. He opens his arms. He takes her down with him and strangles her to death. This done, he takes another good sniff and will never forget her odor, for he never forgets any odors in his life. A little later, he has to take a delivery to the perfumer Baldini one evening. Here's the goat leather you had ordered." "Yeah, put it in my lab." And he takes him into the inner sanctum of his shop, where Grenouille's nosebuds pop out, for this is the snuff his dreams were made of. He's always known he was born for this, so he goes, "I want to work for you." And he goes, "You're a tanner. Tell me, are you trying to copy that very bad perfume Amor and Psyche by Pélissier?" "Listen, Buster, for that perfume is the state of art. Should I mix it for you? Please let me. You can't do that." But he lets him have a go at it. He's quite desperate because he himself has failed to do so far. A little later, Grenouille has mixed a bucketful of the perfume and Baldini goes, "Blimey!" In a completely altruistic move, Baldini buys him out of the tanner's service and makes a fortune with the young man's genius, who is a natural in the perfumer's business. His single ambition is to experiment in the lab at night. There has to be a way to keep the individual scent of stones and glass and stuff, but he doesn't succeed, and has the feeling he'll never manage to create a really great perfume, which is why he gets depressed and sick. He's already dying when one day he goes, "Maître, isn't there another way to extract smells from things except by pressing and distilling?" And Baldini answers, "Sure, there's the 3 kinds of enfleurage that are practiced in southern France, in Grasse." And bang, Grenouille's healthy again and makes Baldini another fortune, and at some point then leaves him. And he's hardly gone when the perfumer's house that had been standing on a bridge collapses and buries the owner and all his money under the wreckage. Grenouille walks south and reaches the Auvergne in central France, where there's pleasantly few human odors about, and he reaches the Plomb du Cantal, a summit where the air is cleanest and fewest scents are around, which is a blessing for a supernose. He settles down in a cave, a fissure in the rock, where he henceforth only leaves to defecate, lick water from stones, and eat moss and worms. And he dreams of odors, especially the one of the Mirabelle girl, for 7 years. Suddenly, he realizes that he himself doesn't have a personal scent, which is so shocking to him that he hurries back into human company. And he reaches Montpellier and goes, "I've been kidnapped by robbers who kept me prisoner in a hole in the ground for 7 years. And the Marquis de la Théière d'Espinasse goes, "Yeah, don't say it. You're contaminated by the fluidum letale that pervades the earth. I'm going to nurse you back to health with the help of my vital air device." And he does a before-after show with Grenouille, bringing him back to humanity exclusively with the help of mountain air and food, care, new clothes, new perfume, which only takes a week. And all around him go, "Boah, he's so sympathetic. Incredible that we didn't realize that before." And this is due to the fact that Grenouille has been allowed to create a humanoid scent in a perfumer's lab that makes him sympathetic to people. Then he says goodbye and walks to Grasse. And when he's passing along the city wall, he goes, "What's that again?" And he's got a scent in his nose similar to the one of the Mirabelle girl, the dangerous odor of a girl who is almost a young woman. And he arrives at Madame Arnulfi's and goes, "Bonjour, madame, I'd like to work for you." And she looks him up and down and replies, "Right, but there's almost no money, food only twice a day, and you've got to sleep in the chicken shed." And he goes, "Deal." He really would have done it without payment too. In the lab of the family business, the journeyman Drouot teaches him how to extract plant odors with the help of fat and vaporizing. That's a process called enfleurage. And he even succeeds in extracting animal odors, for the which he kills a puppy, bad Grenouille, and he extracts human scents too. In his spare time, he happily kills virgins and conserves their odors as a preparation and training for the perfect human perfume he plans to create, with the odor he has smelt when he arrived in Grasse. This scent is, of course, the one of Laure Richie. Her father, however, is quite alarmed on account of the virgin murders that have been happening recently and goes, 24 dead virgins and my daughter's the perfect victim. She must get married at once." He wants to have her taken on a small island and makes her leave the town, but Grenouille notices that the town's smell has changed at once, and he follows their trace. At night, he breaks into the inn where they have stopped over. He kills Laure and conserves her smell. Up till now, Grenouille has always been very careful, but this time he gets caught. An angry mob assembles, shouting, "Off with his head! Off with his head!" And the judge muses a bit and goes, "Would crucifixion do?" And they go, "Oh, yeah, okay." Then a huge mass assembles to watch the execution. He gets out of the coach that has taken him to the place of the execution, and suddenly all go, "That's impossible! He's innocent! Such a sympathetic, good person, and we all thought he was a murderer." And they have a go at each other, and there's a huge orgy. Richie, the father who's just lost his daughter, embraces him, and he's free, and on the next day he can leave. Why? Because he's put on a drop of L'Or No. 1, the perfume he's distilled out of 25 virgins, which will inevitably lead to people loving you. Yet even this triumph cannot fill up the vast emptiness and loneliness inside Grenouille. He returns to Paris, smells the vapors of the metropolis once more, and returns to the place he was born at, the fish market at the Cimetière des Innocents, where in the evening a couple of poor people sit around a campfire. At first they don't notice him. Then he takes out the flacon of l'or number 1 and pours it over his head. They get attentive, smell him, fall upon him, tearing him apart and eating him alive because he smells so good. Nothing is left of him. And this, dear congregation, was the Perfume by Patrick Süskind.
Vielen Dank.